Hello and welcome back to the Artisfy codecast. So today we're going to be testing the when functionality in the switch.js plugin, and we're going to be writing or rewriting an old plugin again. So yeah, and that one's going to be, it's called copy layout, and the purpose of that is to copy the position and the size of one element onto another element. And we're just going to be changing the syntax of that a little bit and then writing some tests for that. And that should be all for today. After that, you can see we're going to spec out some new code for this IO library, but that's probably going to be tomorrow. But we'll see how far we get today. Okay, so first of all, we want to test when. So I'm pretty sure when is working, but I do want to make sure that it is. So let's just go into the switch main code, make sure we're importing the tests, and then instead of setting switches on a window, let's go into the tests and let's import switches from the nearby one, and here we won't do anything there. Okay, so now let's just try, I guess I would be satisfied if we watched just one switch, really. So I know it's not gonna be like a very robust test, but I'm kind of okay with that because I just want to get this code out there, and so I just want to know, does it work in a kind of a basic way? So I don't need it to be well, I mean, I do want it to work no matter what, obviously, but I don't need it to be, a super robust test, because if it's just going to work for these simple cases of like, if I just pass in switch name, if I just pass in switch action, if I just pass in switch element, and then for two of those, and then for all three of them, that pretty much covers like the basic cases that I'm going to use this for. So I'll be pretty satisfied that it's working. I don't really know what else I could test. I guess I could test like more of the foundational stuff, but I don't know. I think this is a pretty good test. So let's do, I think we're going to have to do that. Okay, cool. So now we have switch name, switch action, and the last one is going to be the switch element. And let's just put like a placeholder there for now. And then, so there should be a way to test all of these. And I think let's write like an array. So these are all the cases we want to be covered. So let's say like it's an array of strings, switch name, switch action, and switch lm. I'm not really sure what I'm doing yet, but okay, so let's say that's one test. Then we'll do the other test. We want to make sure that just passing in two of them is going to work. So we'll do that one. I don't know how this test is going to work, actually. So what I was thinking first is that like I would just have these, strings representing each test that I want to do, and then in the callback, I would kind of like check, I would like remove one of these, if it matches the test I'm expecting. And then after all of them have been called, yeah, but that's not going to work. Okay, so instead, let's get the element that I want for this. So I think we want this one because this is a pretty good test case because it has two switches on it. So let's, I guess, put an ID on it, and we'll say like JS when test. So now we have document query selector. We could also just do get element by ID. And I think, I never use that. I think I just pass in the name. Yeah, obviously, I would just pass in the name. I don't have to pass in the hash. Okay, so yep, that should do that. So that's test element. Okay, so this is the one where we're passing in all of them, and there's one thing that I want to do first before I start testing this is just with the switch data. So right now I have the switch name, the switch action, and the switch element. I do want the switch action element, the one that triggered it. So let's go in here. Okay, so this is just the target switch. This is the action to trigger. So let's see again real quick. How are we calling this? So I'm manually passing in the switch action of on. Okay, so how about inside of these, along with the target switch, I pass in the action to trigger, and the action to trigger is going to give me back the processed actions. So let's see what processed actions gives me back. So it's going to be the name, the type, and the context, and the get actions data is going to add the element onto the action. So I should have that element on here too. So I think I should say here. Okay, so I think what we can do is pass this in. So we have the target switch, and we have the actions to trigger, and then inside of toggle, so I think I want the switch object. Switch object, and then the action. And I'll just call it action object for consistency. And then the same thing in on, and the same thing in off. And then down here, we've got the same thing. And down here we have the same thing. So before I replace this one, I just want to make sure that I know where to get the name. So the name's going to be on here, and the switch action is going to be on here. I need to figure out where it's going to be. So it's called, so elem is called elem. That makes sense. The getting the actions data, I think, comes from here. Okay, so it's going to be type, I think. Because if I go to parse, you can see that this returns name, type, and context. Okay, so if I go back here, we have name, type, context, and elem, and the switch object is going to have name, elem, and what else? So get switches by name from elements. I think this is the one we're looking for. Parse switch attributes, add the elem to it. So parse switch attributes, let's see what this returns. The name, auto, and custom name. Name, auto, custom name, and it gets the elem added to it too. Okay, so now that I know that, let's replace this with this. And now I can go into trigger callbacks and let's switch this to say switch object, and the same thing here, just for consistency. Okay, and now we have the action object too passed in here, and we can paste this stuff in so that we know what these things are. And I'm going to just put it on the next line just so I have it all right here. Okay. So we've got that and that and that. Okay. So now now the names are going to be the same, but everything else is going to be different, including the element, because I think the action object is going to have the element, the trigger element. I guess I do want to make sure of that real quick. So we have action elements, get actions data, we loop through it, and we add the action element. Yep, so this is the action element. Okay, so the names are going to be the same, everything else is going to be different. The thing we're matching on for the switch is the name, the action, and the element, and we should specify it's the action object dot type and the switch object dot elem. Okay. So now we see if it's matching. So the callback is going to be the same. Oh, and now this is a shame because, oh no, okay. Well, yeah, it's a little bit of a shame. So let's say let object to match against equal, and this is just to keep it simple, because with the callback list, so the when, this is the when API. So we do want switch name, switch action, and switch lm to be the keys that are passed in. So we need to kind of massage this data a little bit to make sure that they match up. Okay, and then we know that the name is going to be the same for both, so we can use either one. We'll just use the name on the switch object. And then we can just copy this. And let's just like specify here, even though it doesn't matter, just so that like people don't get confused in the future. Okay. So that looks good. And then object to match against should replace this. And then if it matches, we want to return the switch object as well as the action object. Okay, so that's cool. I really, I don't know, kind of want to make yeah, I think on would be nice to have, especially for the toggle one. Let me see real quick. So I could do it pretty easily. Yeah, let's do it. Is this the only place I use is off? Because if it is, it's going away. Okay. So that's the same. Is off can go away. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is say, no, we're not going to overwrite that. So is switch on, or I guess we could just do on. And we're going to do that. And then we're going to say if not on. And then at the start of this one, we're going to do the same thing. And then we're going to say if on. Okay. And then for this one, we're going to do the same thing. And then we're going to say if on. And the reason we're going to do that is so that we can add this as a property to the switch object. So we're going to say switch object on equals on. And now that I think about it, since we're not creating a new object, because I was thinking I was going to have to pass it in like that, and then I just wanted on to be on, but we're not doing that. So I would rather have this say like is switch on to be more explicit. Okay, so jeez, okay, is switch on. Okay, so let's replace this, and we're just going to have to delete. that. Okay. And then this last one. Okay. So now this switch object should have whether it's on or not. So that's pretty nice. And we also have the action object here. So now we can, show our API in more detail. So we're going to have this and this, except we're going to have this be this have on too. So now we have this, we have this, we have this. We don't have this here, but we do have it down here, so that's fine. And then auto, custom name, and then, yeah, so instead of having the action on the switch object, we have a separate action object, and on that we have the name, the type, the context, and the element. So we got our full API. So we were hoping to get that a little while ago, and now we have it. So that's awesome. This should go down here, and yeah, we'll just do that, I guess. Okay. And I don't know where to put this callback list thing. Oh yeah, okay. So this is showing like the API for what's returned, right? Okay. So let's put this down here. And we'll say like, I don't know, return values. And we'll paste that in. And we can put this in here. So we'll put like an example, and we'll put that, and then callback, and then the return values are these. Okay. Whew, okay, so that works. Callback, that works. And I could, I don't know, put like 0 and 1 here. I don't think this is the syntax for it. I don't know. I'm fine with this, I guess. Or like 1 and 2. Okay, so that kind of explains what it does. Okay, let's say like parameter to pass in, and it's going to be like that. Okay, parameters to pass in. And we have the optional ones, and we can even like space these out a little bit so they all line up. And then we have like these, okay, on the return values. So that's kind of nice documentation. And so, okay, now let's get back to the code. So this should work. Again, we just like changed a bunch of stuff right before our test, which isn't a great idea, but it's fine. So now we have this for the when test. I really don't like selecting this like this. So instead what I'm going to do is, oh man, I really don't like selecting it no matter how we're going to select it. So, okay, we're gonna select it like that. Okay, so we have the test element. These are going to be the switches on it, so let's just bring this in here. Yeah, okay, so that gives us an idea of what we're testing. And then let's bring in our like test. We have like a test function somewhere. Oh geez, it's somewhere. Okay. I think maybe it's in another folder. Yeah, it's in parse down. Okay. So we have the tests. I thought we had it somewhere else too. So this is going to give us, oh no, this isn't going to work because we're using Lodash here, and we don't have that imported in our other code. I think we do have a test here. Let me just, that's not going to work. Switch original tests. Nope, that's a different thing. Here? Oh, yep, this is it. Okay, so we have a deep equal that's only meant for objects. Okay, so, and then we console log it, pass or fail. So, okay, what do we really want to do here? Well, so I want to go through each of these tests. I want to have some way of saying this is what was expected, and this is, you know, what we got. And and I want to make sure that all of them are called when they should be called. So like if I click to open to turn on a switch, it's going to, you know, fire for this dialog if I'm watching for the switch name of dialog 1 or backdrop 1, and it's not going to fire otherwise. So, and I don't want it to not fire, like I don't want it to silently fail, and then I don't realize that it's silently failing. So I think first of all, let's just specify all of the tests, right? So we want dialog 1 for this. We want, I guess, what's the action going to be? So there's one for there's one for on, and there's one for off, and we don't have a toggle there. So yeah, I guess we should have a toggle one too. Okay, so let's do the, yeah, actually, geez, let's do, can we do this one? I just want one with 2. So I guess this is called toggle. So it could be, no, I don't want to change that. Okay, so yeah, we're not, whatever. We're not going to test everything, even though we probably should. Okay, so now we have the test element, we have on, and we have the callback, and we're going to just say like console log dialog 1 was turned on, and let's go here. Cannot find module. Okay, that's because. Okay. Okay. So if I think it's this one. Nope. Is that? I don't even know which one it is. Okay, so it's the third one. It should be the third one. Let's make sure that we have the ID on this one. Yep, we do have the ID on that one. Okay. So, oh, okay. I have an idea for why it might not be working. So we're not including, no, we are including it because if we go down here to the main, we're including the switch test and the switch test Sass. So let's just go into the test again and console log 1, 2, 3. Yep, and we got 1, 2, 3. Okay, so what happens if I delete that and then I toggle it? It's still not working. Okay, so what if I just have dialog 1? Okay, now it's working. Okay, so switch action, it's not working with switch action or switch element. So switch element. Let's make this public real quick just for debugging purposes. And we have the switch action is on, the switch element is this element, and the switch name is dialog 1. So console log this object to match against. Okay. So the switch action is undefined. Okay. So that makes sense because that has to do with a new bit of data that we just passed in. So the rest of it looks good. So what if I remove just the switch action here? Okay, so now it's working, but of course it's not checking for the on one, so it's more like dialog 1 was, you know, affected. Okay. Oh, jeez. Okay, and we can get rid of our console log because we know the switch action. Or actually, why don't we leave this in, but just have the switch action show up? Okay, so we know that's undefined. Now our goal is just to make it defined. Well, actually, let's look at what the action type is. So the action, or the action object. Huh. So, oh, It's because the action object is an array. That's the reason. Okay, so if I go up to trigger call, okay, so I want to go all the way up to this one. And yep, this was the mistake. So instead of actions to trigger, I just want the singular action to trigger. And now it should work. Yep, so now we're getting the on back. Let's turn this back to on. Let's remove our console log from down here. And let's remove our other console log from here. Okay, so now when we turn this on, was turned on. Okay. Awesome. Cool, cool, cool. Okay, so now we've got it for on. Let's do it for off. Okay, that seems to be working. And it doesn't matter if I close it. Yeah, okay, cool. So now, now what I really want is just a quick way to kind of scan through these. Okay, so we're gonna have like run test. And geez, I don't know. This might be a little bit too much for me right now. It's like, it's hard for me to think through all these cases. So I think I'm just going to do the simple cases for now. Like I'm just going to do it in a simple way instead of, doing everything. So this one's going to be like without auction, dialog 1, any action. Okay. Okay, so now I get both of those. That's perfect. Now I want it with switch action on, but turned on, no element to match. Perfect, okay. And let's see. I guess we could just do like this one. Any switch turned on. Cannot read property type of undefined. Okay, let's try that one more time. So what happened, I clicked here. Okay, so I clicked on that one. I'm getting an action object that's undefined, but a switch that is defined. In that case is for sidebar 1 toggle. So it might be a problem with our toggle code. Action object. I mean, it's probably going to be undefined here. I don't see any reason why it wouldn't be if it's undefined lower. So it's not undefined here. So it should be passed. Should be passed into that with, with the type of toggle. That's strange. Because this is, that's weird. Okay, so I mean, if I search, if I go to, oh, okay, so what's happening with this one? Oh, got it. So I'm not passing in the action object into turn off and turn on here, which is, so I was looking at the wrong one. So toggle wasn't the issue. The issue was it was saying, okay, this is off, right? So it's not switched on, it's off, so I'm going to go turn it on. So it's going in this turn on function, and action object wasn't defined in there because I wasn't passing it in inside of toggle. So now I'm passing it in there. If we refresh and I turn this on, oh, it's being toggled. So I'd have to say like toggle here. Okay, any switch toggled, and that's weird that it's being sent to me twice. So if I refresh, okay. Yeah, that's a problem. And I don't know why that's happening. So let's console log. So I'm just getting one thing here. So I know toggle isn't being called more than once. But I guess what's happening... Oh, geez. Yeah. So what's happening is this this action object with the type of toggle is being passed through to turn on or turn off, and it still has the type of toggle, so when it gets to trigger callbacks, it's triggering that one. So what I want to do is here I want to say type equals off. But the problem with that is that this is going to be called first. So I'm going to change it before it gets to trigger callbacks. So now it's just going to have, you know, off or on, and it's not going to get the toggle one. So, you know, that's a pretty simple solution. So what I want to do here, so first of all, I don't need this until down here. So I'm going to move it down here. And the same for this. And the same for this. And that's mostly because, I just don't want to confuse myself and think that I'm setting this up for something. And also because I'm going to be adding more data. So action object. So what I want to do is object assign. And I want to have an empty one. And then for the, and so this is going to, so if I just did this, it's just going to copy action object. And now in order to overwrite the type, I'll just say, so we're turning it on here. So we're going to say on, and then I think it's going to, yeah, I think object assign returns the new object. I just want to make sure. I guess I really don't know how else it would work, right? Like why, it wouldn't really make sense. It will return the target object. Okay, and the target is the first one. Okay, perfect. So we'll say like let action object in this context equal this, but it's not, I don't think it's going to overwrite the this action object. It's going to just, reassign this variable in this context to this. And I'm not using this action object anywhere else here. So I think it's fine that I do it here. I feel a little bit guilty about not putting it all the way up there, but I'm kind of okay with it. Okay, so that's going to go there. This is going to go here. And now that should work, I think. Oh, jeez. Okay, so action, oh, right, of course. So I'm trying to redefine it with a let. Okay. So now we toggle that one and it works. If I open this one again, and if I toggle it, so now if I toggle it to close it, it's also going to work. This one, that also is a toggle. This is a toggle. That is not a toggle. That is not a toggle. That's a toggle, but we have to look at the code to test it. And this is a toggle all. And that seems right, I guess. Okay. Cool, cool. So yeah, I'm glad that we tested that. And now let's do any switch affected. Okay. So now this is with all of them optional. So if I touch any of these, yeah, I just want to make sure clicking out here doesn't do anything. Okay. So I get any switch affected twice for a single action. I think that's fine. I don't know. I don't love it. But basically, the toggle is going to say I was toggled, and it's also going to say, it was turned on. So that's why it's doing it twice. I don't really know another way of doing that. So I think I'm just going to leave it. It doesn't feel great. So let's clear this. What happens if I click that? Yeah, so I get any switch affected twice. Yeah, I think like if you don't want two events for toggle, um, jeez. Yeah, because when it is toggled, I do want to know if it's been turned off. That's just a fact. Yeah. And when it's, yeah, I can just listen for toggle. Yeah, so I think it's fine. I think I can just make a note here by the when function. But yeah, this is crappy. I will admit. I just don't know what else to do right now. Um, so I'll just add a warning right here. Warning. Um, the toggle action triggers two callbacks. Toggle and on off. Toggle as well as on off at the same time. Okay. So if you don't pass in an action type parameter, you'll get back your callback will be called twice. I don't know. It's not great. Okay, but it's okay. Okay, so now we've got these switch tests. I've done a lot of them. I'm pretty confident that they work as expected. So that's pretty good. And let's see. We wanted to replace the old widget.js code, but I think before we do that, I would like to work on the copy layout code. But I don't know, I think I might be done for tonight. I'm kind of feeling tired, a little bit like not like working. So yeah, I don't know what to tell you. I think it's good we got this much done. You know, it's been almost an hour, and yeah, I want to remove that window. Yeah, so I think we got a decent amount of stuff done. We wrote all these tests. We fixed a bunch of bugs. We added more functionality to the when. So I'm pretty happy with the progress. Next time we will work on the copy layout code, which shouldn't be that hard. That should only take 1 or 2 sessions, and then after that, we'll be we'll be ready to replace all of the current code in our current view in Artisfy. So this is the current code where you'll see like .w dash bundle underscore details bundle dash all this stuff. This is going to be super simplified. And then yeah, this is the copy layout code here. And that's going to be super simplified, I believe, also. So basically, all of this code is going to look a lot better. We're going to test it out. We're going to make sure it works. And that's going to feel really good. And then after that, we're going to start a specification for the new, input-output code for that library, which is going to drastically simplify my the development of Artisfy in terms of like how the data is being stored on the page in like draft form, and then how it's being sent to the server. And so once I get that done, that's hopefully going to, make the development of Artisfy a lot easier, a lot more pleasurable, and I can work on it over the next few weeks, few months, and hopefully release the first version in a few months, maybe by Christmas or something. So that's a really exciting thing for me, and I think for a lot of people I've been talking to, a lot of artists I've been talking to, that hopefully they'll find it exciting and like and enjoy all the progress that I've made on this site over the past few years. Okay, so that's all I got for now. I really appreciate you watching. I know I was a bit low energy today. I apologize for that. Um, but yeah, I'll be back next time and we'll be ready to go. Okay, talk to you later. Bye.